Hello, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to today's session on introducing Pathway to Benefits and the DTC application. Before we begin today's session, I would like to acknowledge that the land that I am joining you from, the city of Gatineau, is the unceded traditional territory of the Algonquin Anishinaabe people. I recognize and honor their deep connection to this land, as well as the lands where each of you are joining from. The map you see here reflects the many Indigenous nations whose territories span across what we now call Canada. We honor them all, past and present, and commit ourselves to learning from and respecting their histories and cultures. Brief introductions. My name is Diana Vince. I'm the National Program Manager at Mood Disorder Society of Canada. I will now pass it along to my colleagues to allow them to introduce themselves, with Sherry first.
Hello, everyone. Annie, bonjour. Thank you for being here today with us. My name is Sherry Mayer. I'm the National Outreach Navigation Coordinator for the Pathways to Benefits project. Pass it on to Ashley.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ashley. I'm the National Benefit Navigator here at the Pathway to Benefits Service and Project, and I'm looking forward to helping guide you through the DTC.
All right, so as we get started, just a couple of housekeeping notes. Your microphones are muted, and we do invite you to use the Q&A function to submit any questions you may have. We'll address them gladly at the end of the session. Please do not disclose any personal health information when asking questions. The chat function is disabled. However, there are going to be some links that will be shared via the chat. And a recording of this session will be shared with all registrants following the session. And it will also be available on our website via benefitspathway.ca. So today we are going to be introducing a little bit and give you an overview of who we are, who is MDSC, what is Pathway to Benefits, and an introduction to the disability tax credit. So briefly, Mood Disorder Society of Canada is a national non-for-profit organization dedicated to improve the quality of life for people affected by mental health issues through advocacy that we do, education, and support. We provide education and awareness, of course, about mood disorders to the public, healthcare professionals, as well as policymakers. We offer support and resources for individuals living with mood disorders and their families, and we advocate for improved mental health services and policies across Canada, promoting research at the same time and innovation related to mood disorders. I will now pass it along to my colleague Sherry to go over what Pathway to Benefits is and what are the services that we offer.
Absolutely. Thank you, Diana. So what is Pathway to Benefits? It's a national initiative led by the MDSC. We support Canadians with disabilities and their families in applying for the disability tax credit, the Canada Disability Benefit, and other provincial and territorial disability supports. This program is free, it's an inclusive, and it's person-centered. Our services include one-to-one navigation support. We do some personalized help completing applications. We have an online resource hub, easy to use digital tools. We have centralized information on disability benefits, including federal, provincial, and territorial benefits. We have peer and trained volunteers that help support the application process. We're culturally informed, empathetic, and offer those types of supports for you. We focus on organizational partnerships to help the project thrive across the country. We use tools and training to assist local organizations in understanding the project and helping to extend its reach across the country. And most of that work is outreach to underserved communities. Send that back your way, Diana. Thank you.
All right, I think Ashley will now begin. I also do invite everybody that is joining us today to check out our website, benefitspathway.ca. I will be sharing a little link in the chat, so keep an eye out for that. Take it away, Ashley.
All right. Hi, everyone. We are finally getting to the meat of this webinar. We're starting to talk about the disability tax credit. Before we start getting into eligibility and tips and tricks, we're going to start with just talking a little bit about it, what it is, and eventually getting into how to apply. So the DTC, or the disability tax credit, you'll hear us call it the DTC quite a bit, is a non-refundable tax credit offered by the Canada Revenue Agency, CRA. It helps people with disabilities or their family members that are being supported reduce the amount of income tax they owe. If you or your supporter did not pay any taxes to the government, you didn't have income, or it was very low that you wouldn't get a refund, then you will not get any monetary benefit other than other gateway benefits, such as the Canadian Disability Benefit, which will be our next webinar. The DTC has a federal and a provincial amount based on the amount of tax that your province charges you, essentially. It'll be, the federal base amount is the same regardless of which province you live in. And like I said before, it was created to reduce the income tax you or your supporter owes. And because of this, the provincial amount changes based on whichever province you're in, just as the amount of taxes you pay, and the percentage is different in each province. Why would you apply for the DTC? It's more than a tax credit. While I said in the last slide, it's a tax credit, and it is also a gateway benefit. By applying for the DTC, you are eligible for so many more benefits that it acts as a gateway benefit. Some examples include the Canada Disability Benefit, which is a approximately $200 a month benefit, much like the monthly benefits many people receive. You can also get a registered disability savings plan, a long-term savings plan with government contributions for tax-deferred growth, and you'll get reduced income taxes, or your supporter will get reduced income taxes. Yeah, having a little bit of technical difficulties there. You can't have a Zoom webinar without that. Let's move forward to eligibility. Before I get into more details, here's the basic eligibility criteria. To qualify, you have to be a Canadian citizen or permanent resident, have a severe and prolonged impairment is what they call it, but essentially that's just your disability. It's the physical manifestation of your disability, and it has to last, or is expected to last, over a year. This can include restrictions in your daily activities, such as walking, feeding, dressing, hearing, speaking, vision, mental functions, or you require life-sustaining therapy. For example, if you have difficulty walking and require the use of a cane, and your disability also requires you to have help with dressing, you may be eligible for the DTC. It can be a combination of any of them. You do not have to have just one category under this. It can be a combination, and they will take into account this based on what your doctor says later, as we'll talk about on Form T2201. For example, also, if you have ADHD with executive functioning issues that make it difficult every day, or depression and anxiety, for example, you may be eligible if it's debilitating and restricts your day-to-day functioning, which is defined as taking 3 times longer than someone without your disability or impairment, even with therapy, medication, etc. It's present almost all the time, and the restriction, as I said before, lasts about a year or longer. Other eligibility pathways, as I mentioned, are cumulative effects. This means you have multiple restrictions that add up to you having issues with your walking, dressing, etc., where you meet that markedly restricted. And like I also said, it must be certified by a medical practitioner. I have a list later of which ones count. Generally, it's your family doctor on the form T2201, and your family members may also claim the credit if you don't have income, and if they support you, they are eligible to receive this as well if you transfer it to them. Now, onto the application process. There is only one form required for this, as I mentioned before, the T2201. And there are two sections within the form. Part A will be filled out by yourself. It has all your information on it, such as your SIN number, address, etc. Part B is what they make their decision based off of. Part B is what is filled out by your medical professional, whoever fills it out. Luckily, there are multiple formats of these forms, including fillable PDF online that you can type out everything and print it out to send or submit it online. There's also a printable PDF if you have issues with computers and want to write it by hand. There's also e-texts that is made for screen readers that help if that's your disability. And you can request other formats using the link on our screen to if none of these work for you as well. And the government will provide you with the format you need. Let's get into Part A. Here is an example of Part A, as I said. It includes demographic information about yourself and the person claiming the disability amounts if you're applying on behalf of somebody else. You'll see here there's name, mailing address, less address, your relationship to the person with the disability, if they're your dependent, they're your spouse or common law partner, or yourself. It asks if the person with the disability lives with you, if you're applying for someone else. A little bit more information, just how long have they lived with you, etc. And it includes a choice for the CRA to adjust your returns for about 10 years in the past if your disability has lasted that long. So you might get a refund on that if you paid too much taxes. And then Part B must be filled out by a medical professional, as I've mentioned before. Part A is filled out by you, and then Part B is filled out by a medical professional. CRA has very specific responsibilities for medical professionals and what disabilities they are able to certify. The following can certify impairments. Medical doctor, which is your family doctor, or for example, an emergency doctor at the hospital, or any generally trained doctor, like I said, most likely your family doctor. They can certify all your impairments, and so can a nurse practitioner. But if you get into more specific issues where you might not be able to get your family doctor to sign, or it's better for someone else to fill it out based on your impairments so that the government has all the information possible, you can go to an optometrist for vision impairments, audiologist for hearing impairments, occupational therapist for walking, feeding, and dressing, physiotherapist for walking, psychologist for mental functions or mental health disabilities, or a speech language pathologist for speaking disabilities, and they will be able to certify and fill out the form for you. Here is an example of Part B. As you can see, this is vision. It says exactly who can certify: medical doctor, nurse practitioner, optometrist. Your medical professional will choose one of these, list your diagnoses, and there's more specific information, as you can see on the form, that they require, such as visual acuity if it's vision, more technical terms that your doctor will be able to fill out. Your doctor may base their assessment on the symptoms reported by you, their knowledge of your medical history, their direct observation of your limitations, or the combination of your disability that causes limitations, and their knowledge of the effects of your disability as they relate to your medical condition. The CRA bases its decision about eligibility on the information that medical practitioners provide in Part B. So while it is out of your control, ensure that your doctor or the professional filling it out does fill it out accurately. All right, so now we've done it, we've submitted it, we've mailed it in or completed it online. We're looking at the after application timeline. The first 8 to 12 weeks is when the CRA is looking at your application. Right now, it can be up to 12 to 20 weeks if you were to apply today, because there is an influx of people due to the Canadian Disability Benefit, and it's highly recommended that you wait at least 20 weeks before being concerned, because they are very behind. Also, if you mailed the application, please make sure to take that extra time into account for mailing and processing, because the processing can take about 1 week to 2 weeks when you mail it in. After that 8 to 20 week mark, the CRA will send you a letter with their decision, with either approval or denial. If approved, the letter will specify your eligibility period, which can be up to 2014, 10 years ago. The letter will explain the reasons and outline the appeal decisions. If you're denied, it will also explain the additional documentation you need, and you may file the formal ejection or reapply if your circumstances changed, or you can get your doctor to fill out more information for your case. And then if you're approved, you'll be able to claim the DTC on your tax return, accessing related benefits like the RDSP, Canada Disability Benefit, and more. And then you'll be able to apply for other benefits, as I mentioned before. Here are some tips to maximize your DTC approval. First of all, is understanding what the CRA is looking for. The CRA does not approve on diagnosis alone. They assess functional impact. So ensure that your doctor focuses on how your condition restricts daily activities, like walking, dressing, feeding, or mental functionings, and how it affects you day to day. Talk to your doctor about using CRA terms such as market restriction 90% of the time and prolonged impairment. The medical wording is quite a bit different than CRA's expectations of wording, so working with your doctor to ensure the wording is correct increases your chances of approval. Be thorough in your Part B on that topic. Work with your medical practitioner and not against them. Encourage your practitioner to describe how long things take compared to others. Use real-life examples. For example, they can say client takes 45 minutes to dress due to joint pain. Be as specific as possible and walk in with how it impacts your life. Have examples for them to use. Make it easier for them to understand how it impacts your life. Avoid vague terms like sometimes or mild, and include supporting documents like therapy schedules, assistive device prescriptions, and caregiver notes to ensure that your case is rock solid. And like I said, that's the second point. Prepare additional information. Ensure that you have all your information to send to the CRA, letters from specialists or therapists, logs of daily challenges, proof of therapy, etc. You might need it if you need to appeal, or you might want to send it in if your doctor thinks that that is a good idea. And it really is an individual case of what you send in outside the T2201. And lastly is apply early. Apply earlier than you expect you need it or want it. Because as I said, it takes anywhere from 8 to 20 weeks, depending on the influx of applications. Make sure that after you apply to keep copies of all the forms you mailed in or submitted, all CRA correspondence, and all practitioner notes on the topic. That will make it easier that if you have to call, you can ensure that they have your information, or it's just good for your records, especially when you're applying for a tax credit. Before we get into talking about the website and your questions, I'm going to get through a couple of frequently asked questions. First, do mental health conditions qualify for the disability tax credit? And the answer to that is yes. Conditions such as depression, anxiety, schizophrenia, and other mental impairments may qualify if they cause substantial functional limitations, as I mentioned before. Secondly, another issue that a lot of people are dealing with right now is I don't have access to a family doctor. What do I do in that case? There are many ways to access medical professionals who may be able to help you access your benefits. Firstly, you can check if there is a clinic for unattached patients in your area through your health unit or local healthcare team. They may have a team of doctors for people without a family doctor that can help you navigate the system or fill out the forms based on your medical information. These clinics will be able to access your medical records and may be able to assist you with your application for a fee, which would preclude around either $60 or $100 is most likely, and they would just fill out the Part B of the form for you. You may also be able to try a local walk-in clinic who may be able to assist you, or they may be able to refer you to someone who can help you fill out these forms and assist with your application. As a last resort, you may be able to find online doctor clinics that may be covered by OHIP or your local provincial healthcare. In this example, I obviously used Ontario, and they may be able to fill out your form or refer you to a doctor who is able to help with your DTC application. And lastly, does it cost money to apply for the DTC? The application itself is free. You do not have to pay the government, and you should never have to pay the government for applying for services. However, some medical professionals may charge a fee for completing their session. Like I said before, the government will never charge a fee or ask for money relating to any of their applications. That includes CPP, disability tax credit, etc. I encourage you, much like Diana did, to check out our Pathways to Benefits website. I believe that it will be put in the chat as I am talking about it. It is benefitspathway.ca if anybody is looking right now for it. This is what our website looks like. It's easy, accessible, and has quite a few accessibility features. And if you hit contact us now, you will be able to contact our team and we will get back to you within 3 business days. You can always call us or email us or complete the contact form and we will get in touch with you within 3 business days, most likely sooner. As you can see, our website has provincial benefits, federal benefits, and any information you might want along with that contact information. But you can always feel free to contact us and we will help guide you. Now we are on to the Q&A section of our webinar. I'm looking forward to hearing some of your questions, and my lovely colleague Sherry will be, I believe, reading out your questions.
Yes, thank you for everything that's been submitted so far, everyone. I've been kind of helping Ashley here as she's been speaking to answer, but I will read them out and perhaps Ashley has something to add. We'll start with the first one from Bala. Do mental conditions such as autism or ADHD also make eligible for the DTC?
Yes, they do.
There you go, Ashley. Please go.
That is quite the simple question. You just have to, like I said before, ensure that you make it clear the functional limitations that it can cause.
Okay, perfect. And just to follow up with that, I did copy and paste from the slide that Ashley presented some of the basic eligibility criteria for you, so you can use that information as well, Bala. And we move on to Ronnie. Ronnie asks, we learn that the person will be turned down if they have RDSP savings. What is the cutoff amount?
The cutoff amount for the RDSP really depends on the individual and when you received it. There are different cutoffs for different years, and I encourage anybody to check what they have been told on their letters. And if not, I would contact the CRA.
Great. And Ronnie, I just posted some information on this on the benefits there for you. I did post a Canada.ca website for you, so you can go take a peek. From what I understand, it is adjusted by your family net income for the 22-24 tax year. So they always go back on your previous tax year, and from that link, you'll be able to see what the eligibility pieces are for that as well. And coming back to Bala one more time, my doctor sabotaged the application as he does not take mental health issues seriously. The CRA rejected the application. What are my options?
I would recommend getting a referral to a psychologist if it's a mental health or mental disability. That would, if you're able to do that, that would be the best case scenario if you want to keep your current doctor. A psychologist is able to speak on and certify mental disabilities, so that would be the best course of action if your doctor does not take them seriously.
And again, Bala, there's also the option of appealing the CRA decision. So if you have a personal CRA account, you can log into that account. On the left-hand side, there's a menu option there. In that option, you'll see the ability to appeal a decision. So I do encourage you to check that out. I did include a link for you there as well.
And just to note, we do help with navigating appeals on documentation you might need for that. So feel free to contact us about your specific situation if we didn't answer what you needed.
Perfect. Okay, so we'll move on to Cassandra. She asks, do you know if Part B, questions 9, under the mental function section, will limit the amount of time the government will pay you back for? Number 9, provide the year when your patient became impaired based on your previous answers. Cassandra mentions she's had the impairment her whole life, but just started to find answers now. The doctor put 2023 as the date when she became impaired. Do you know if this is going to negatively impact the amount of money I would be eligible for?
No, this would not. The only thing it would impact is how long back you are able to go back on your taxes, Cassandra. So you'd be able to go back to your 2023 tax year instead of the full 10 years that you could be eligible for.
Okay, perfect. So we're going to move on to Sandy. Sandy, what is recommended when a physician declines completing the form and the person disabled has mental health disability and fearful of pursuing? Can the disabled person pursue the form with an alternate medical practitioner, such as an NP?
So an NP is not on the list of people who can certify disabilities for the government and for the DTC, sadly. But for mental health disabilities, I can recommend that you either somehow get a referral to see a psychologist, or you can also go to a nurse practitioner if there are any near you for general DTC. They can certify mental health. But other than your family doctor, those are the two medical professionals that can certify mental health and mental disabilities.
I believe she probably was referring to a nurse practitioner. She just put NP, so
Okay.
that is probably what she was referring to. Okay. Kevin, does the entire form need to be completed prior to applying early?
The entire form does need to be completed in order for you to send it in. You cannot update anything until you receive that approval or denial through the CRA.
Back to Bala. What is the salary amount, combined couple income, at which the DTC becomes 0? Even if the computed DTC is 0, what are the other benefits that we can get in this case?
The DTC does not necessarily apply by income. It is a tax credit and takes off a certain amount based on the income that you've earned. The more income you earn, the more you get, and I believe it can be up to $8,000 in a tax year for this credit. But you'd also be eligible for the Canada Disability Benefit, which is our next webinar. RDSP through DTC, and those are the two main ones that you'd be eligible through the DTC. And without the DTC, there are quite a few other benefits that we can help you navigate through. We just prefer to keep the topic to the DTC for this webinar, but feel free to call or email us.
Great. I believe Diana is going to make a quick mention here.
Yes, we have a live question from Joanna Brill. Joanna, if you'd like to go ahead. Please make sure to unmute. You are still muted. Okay, well, let's continue. Let's continue with the questions. Maybe when Joanna is able to unmute, we can go ahead with that one.
Great. Okay, so we'll move on to Alice. I have heard in the past very few applications were accepted. Is the government more open and accepting of different disabilities now, and are more applications being accepted?
I would say that they are open to more disabilities now. Mental health is a recent addition to the functioning limitations that they've spoken about. They are a lot more open now. It just very much is about the wording in Part B. that really does influence the eligibility for the disability tax credit. I've heard that if it doesn't adequately address the limitations and the function of your disability, then it influences your chances because they don't make assumptions based on diagnosis. But from what I have heard, it has gotten a lot more open and accepted, and more disabilities have been approved than previous years.
Great. Okay. Moving on to Kevin. Would a therapist such as a MSW be able to fill out the form?
Sadly, a MSW or a counselor, etc., would not be able to certify the form. It has to be a documented medical practitioner, such as a psychologist, medical doctor, nurse practitioner, etc.
Okay, perfect. And then Laura's just asking, was the link shared? Laura, we will be sharing the website link and our next webinar series link. We will be sending that at the end. So thank you for asking if that's the link you're referring to. I will move on here to, I think we're at Bala once again. Sorry about that.
It's so great. Everybody's asking a lot of questions.
We do have a live question from Bala as well. So,
Sure.
Bala, if you can unmute yourself.
Yeah, I've unmuted myself. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can
Yes,
hear
we
you.
can.
Okay, so my thanks and thank you so much for this session, which is like incredibly useful to somebody like me who's trying to navigate the system. Um, so I'll just come. So my personal family doctor had a very like negative attitude towards like mental health issues. Like I've been suffering from ADHD and ASD, and I suspected that because like I mean it kind of some of my family members also had it. So but he ignored me. So then I went in for a private assessment. When I came with that assessment, he stonewalled me. He said that no, it's like men should kind of deal with all these issues and not make such a big thing about it. It's not a big deal. And I mean, he was very unmindful about it, but I was desperate to have a family doctor. So I didn't want to jeopardize that relationship because, getting a family doctor itself is very tricky. So then he again sent me to a psychiatrist through the health system. And then that psychiatrist confirmed the assessment. But when I had to fill in the DTC, I had to go back to my family doctor. And he didn't, he charged money for it. He sent it to the CRA, but he didn't give me a copy. But from the CRA website, I downloaded a copy and I saw what he had filled in. And with that, nobody would have approved it. He just left it all blank. Okay. I mean, as you stressed in your presentation, you have to be detailed about the impact, the conditions have on the life of the person, which could enable the CRA to take a decision. I don't blame the CRA for rejecting it. I mean, if you were an exam assessor and somebody sent you a blank answer sheet, you would give them a 0. It's that's what would happen. He just sent it blank. And he even charged me the money for it. And then he said, what else can I do? I mean, that's just his attitude. So I found another psychologist willing to fill it. You mentioned that your organization also helps out people. Like, what are my options in this case? Because I do have a problem. Like, I'm on ADHD medication. I take medication, I take a, and it really helps me. Without that, it's hard for me to focus and get things done. I mean, it's caused issues at work, and thanks to the medication, I've been, able to handle that to some extent, but I still have problems. So it's a genuine issue. And I mean, I really don't understand why the doctor behaved like this with me. Again, this is a personal thing, so I don't want to, get waste your time and the time of the other members of the audience. But like, what does one do? Like, either can I contact your organization? If so, how? Or, go to another psychologist, because I have an assessment from a psychologist backed up by what do you say, a psychiatrist, that I have these conditions. Otherwise, they would not give me the medication, right?
Yes. I would recommend, if you can, getting your psychologist or psychiatrist to fill it out, if that's at all possible. If not, you are able to appeal your decision using any documentation you have that shows the limitations. And the CRA should give you instructions on that. To go more in detail of your personal background if you'd like, you can contact us at info@benefitspathway.ca, or you can call us. But our number is on the website and will be on a further slide. Oh, and we have a contact us form on our website as well. And once we receive that contact, we'll be able to help you further, and we'll be able to answer any questions that you have.
Okay, great. I look forward to that number, and also the email address is info@benefitspathway.ca. So no dash or
No,
apostrophe or anything in there, just benefits pathway. Okay, and
all
I'll
this
look out for that number.
information will be
Mhm.
on one of our next slides, our ending slide, and we'll keep it up for a couple minutes for anybody
Yeah,
to
that'll be helpful.
write the website, write the email down, and write our phone number down.
Thank
I
you
have
so
also
much.
included it into the chat, Bala, if you'd like the
Perfect.
phone number as well as the email, the contact email for us.
Okay, great. I don't see it yet, but I think it should be coming as soon as it, kind of, I don't see it actually.
You don't see it in the chat?
No, not yet.
Okay.
Not yet. It hasn't come. Maybe it's just going to renew, and I mean that would be really helpful because I'm going to definitely get in touch, because this is like, it's really difficult when you're suffering with something and the system just stonewalls you and people just, tell you to go and take a walk, because it's hard to, take time off work, go for an appointment, etc. And when you're already struggling with something and your doctor considers it to be a big joke, then it's kind of, I mean, you also get irritated, but you also want to fight back because you don't want to accept something. If something is wrong, it has to be set right. You cannot
Exactly.
allow.
And we can discuss your personal situation
Yeah,
when you call, or
yeah, we'll do that. Yes, we'll do that. And just one last question. That's all. I'll take all of your time. What is the time limit to appeal the CRA decision? Because it's been like 2-3 months since it's come. So I just want to know that, because there is a time limit, I remember, to appeal
yes,
the
there
decision.
is
So
a
how
time
much is?
limit, and it
Mhm.
should be on your letter of decision, but the average time limit is about 30 to 60 days.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, sounds good. Thank you so much. Yeah.
No problem.
Great. Okay, so we're going to move on to Kevin one more time, asking if a psychotherapist is a accepted medical person.
Unfortunately, the government is very strict on who can fill out the forms, and it essentially is only the individuals on the list that I've provided. It would have to be a psychologist.
Okay, great. Moving on to Ronnie. Regarding the RDSP reason for declining the benefit, the amount held was $5,000, but the income exception is $10,000. I followed the link, but there is no specific information about the RDSP holdings that I found.
The RDSP should only be eligible once you have the DTC, and they should tell you the reason for declining the benefit and any years in the letter. And for your specific situation, like I said before, you can feel free to contact us or call us.
Okay. Jana asks, can the recording be shared with a person who wants to apply but could not attend today's session?
Yes, we will be emailing a link out to everyone who submitted the session, and it will be hosted on YouTube. So it'll be very accessible with transcripts and everything, doing a little selling feature here. Feel free to send the link you receive, send the YouTube out to anybody that could use this information.
Great. Sandy asks, is this a benefit that can be reviewed for those that remain working with a disability?
Yes, you do not have to be unemployed for this disability. It adjusts based on your income, what percentage you get back. It's a tax credit, so it just reduces your taxable income.
Okay, moving on to Lori. The barrier I've experienced is with the professionals that are to fill out the form. Many of the patients are on ODSP, and coming up with $160 for an MD to complete the form is nearly impossible. Any tips for navigating this?
Of course, the main tip I would recommend is talking to your doctor about the limitations. If they agree that the DTC is the best way for you to receive help, receive what you're eligible for, then you should be able to explain to them your situation and that it might be difficult for you to pay to complete the forms. I've heard of doctors waiving the fees for patients that have been open and honest. Otherwise, I would look into talking to your ODSP caseworker. There might be top-ups and eligible fees covered for getting your medical forms filled out.
Great. And I believe that is the last question.
Amazing. Everybody had such great questions. And if you think of any that come after, once the contact is in the chat, or take a picture of the end screen, write it down. We are open to get your calls or emails, eventually, hopefully texts once this is over. And if you think of any other questions and we can help with any specific questions based on your situation and individualized roadmaps that you might need.
So we are getting a little bit of feedback that people are not able to see the
Okay.
chat. In order to resolve that, please do not worry. What we're going to be doing is our follow-up email will include the registration link for our next session. It will include a feedback link because we'd love to hear your feedback about what you thought about this session. And of course, a recording link. You'll be able to, as Ashley mentioned, access the recording of this session in case you missed it, or in case anybody missed it through our website. But we will also be sharing a link where you'll be able to view the recording. And I think we do have, and I've added it now, basically our website, our phone number, and our email on the slide before you. Bala, you did have, I think your hand is up. You'd have to unmute if you have another inquiry.
Yeah, no, I saw the details which I wanted, the benefits pathway, and the slide just came up. So I'm
Okay,
just copying the
fantastic.
details from there. So thanks a lot. Yes. And what are the
Fantastic.
timings to call the number? The timings are not mentioned.
We are able to answer the phones between 9 to about 5:30 Eastern Standard Time, and we will have people responding on different locations throughout the next couple of weeks. So just give us a call. If ever it's at a time that there's you can just leave us a voicemail. We get back to the voicemails fairly quickly. I know that Ashley previously said within 3 business days, but we are much quicker than that at answering. We just give ourselves a little bit of a delay
Yes.
because we
We
have
generally are same day.
same day return call. Yes.
Okay, that's great because I'm in Mountain Standard Time. So yeah,
Oh, not to worry about that. We
okay.
have that
Worry.
covered, Bala. You just call us whenever you'd like.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Of course. So I think this wraps up the session for today. We will be sending you a follow-up email, as I mentioned before, with all of the details. I'd like to take the opportunity to thank you so much for giving us your time today and joining us. And we certainly hope to see you on October 27th. A link to register for that session will be sent out to you shortly. And once again, I'd like to also thank Ashley and Sherry for joining us today. We are definitely here to answer any inquiries and help you navigate through the disability tax credit as well as the Canada Disability Benefit moving forward. So thanks, everyone.